Yo,
Yo,
how's it going?
good. How's it?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. How's your melee been the past week? It's been a little bit. Um,
Yeah, it's been all right. I say I practiced slightly less than I wanted to, but at least I feel like the practice I got in was like pretty good, and I think I'm starting to think about the game a little bit
okay.
better, I guess. So that was good. I mean, I kind of had some shit going on this week, is why, but
No, I mean
try
that's
to get on
just
some
that's
games.
normal.
Yeah.
Um, okay, cool. I mean, so last week we kind of talked about like how to deal with Falco a little bit and
Yeah.
how to kind of like make decisions. The way I like to word it is like how to make decisions versus like reads, versus just like I'm raw reacting all the time, right? Because eventually you're gonna
Yeah.
be forced in situations. So how did you feel about that when we talked about it?
It was really good, and then it was something that I was thinking about for the whole week,
Right.
kind of like at least whenever I played, it was something I tried to keep in the back of my mind. On was it like Friday or Saturday, I played in a little online tournament in the
Okay.
Yard Discord.
Okay.
I
Sick.
was like drunk and half paying attention,
Mm.
but when I was playing it, I was like trying to stay in that mindset of being like trying to think about the player aspect more.
Mm.
And I had actually during that I had one set where I was down 0-2 against the Falco player, and then I brought it back and won 3-2.
Oh fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Eh, Yeah, and then yesterday I had a tournament that I went to, and I also had a game against the Falco,
Mm.
and I don't remember if I won. I think I won 2-1,
Okay.
and I like I feel like I kind of started to pick up on some habits and stuff,
Mm.
and so I was able to win game three as well as just being on Stadium, which I don't know. Stadium, I just am so much better on Stadium against Falco. I think maybe my punish game is just a lot more streamlined there.
Mm.
But,
Yeah, I mean
but
I don't
yeah, I was
know.
trying to think about that stuff.
No, I mean it's good. I don't expect you to like reinvent the wheel all in one week. Like that's kind of what we talked
Yeah.
about before. Is like coaching for everyone. Like I don't want to just give people a couple quick answers and then they're off and like killing it because like really they could do that on Google themselves, right? Like the goal with it is like
Yeah.
long term improvement. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like you thought about it a lot, which is good. And I'm glad to hear it helped. I was a little worried near the end of it because I know we didn't talk too much about like Marth versus Falco as like characters, so we didn't really get into like many specifics. But I still think it's a good starting point to kind of decipher
Yeah.
like how do you play really in general,
Uh-huh.
which is good. So,
And after that, I did try to watch a little bit of Zane
mm-hmm.
versus some Falcos. Like I watched like an old set of him versus the real thing and stuff because I
Okay,
didn't want
yeah,
to
that's
watch him
probably
against
good.
Mango because I felt like that's like a little too high level.
I also
Um,
think, well, for what it's worth, I think you can take anything from anyone. Honestly, I mean
yeah,
that's a whole other discussion. But I actually think, for what it's worth, Mango is like one of the few Falcos, period, who actually is really really good at dealing with specifically that. That's what like when people talk a lot about like oh, like Mango's just so unpredictable and like you never know what he's gonna do and he's just all over you all the time. It's like, well, it's really because he's just really really good at staying in that unreactable spot and knowing when to pick his spots.
yeah,
um so that's actually just like ironic, funnily enough, that like what we're talking about, Mango is actually one of the harder ones to do because like a pretty good example is like we were talking earlier about like the nair in place thing, and you can just like mash fair out of that spot, and it's not really much
hmm
Falco can do about it. Like Mango will wave dash jab, and he'll call you out on the nair early, um,
hmm
but it's like that's something that's unreactable, right? So Mango just commits to something on
yeah,
his end like really really quick, and most Falcos like that they don't even do that, right? So
hmm
yeah. Anyway,
yeah. I
um,
tried to implement Nair a little bit more into neutral and stuff, and just like try to see where it was working
mhm.
more since that wasn't the option I was defaulting to as much generally in the
Yeah,
matchup, and I was getting some good mileage out of it.
yeah, it's pretty good. So what were your thoughts on like the real thing? You said you watched some of a set against him against Zane.
Yeah, of him against Zayn. I was kind of just trying to see. the spots that Zane would pick against Falcos and stuff, one thing I noticed was that I was playing against this. I had like a decent, like unranked set against this like Diamond Falco,
Okay.
and I just was noticing that he would blow me up off of these reversals so much, where I would like try to grab him off of a tech chase and be late or something, and get shined or get
Yeah.
spot dodge shined or something, and then I'd take like 50%. I'm like, okay, I have to like. I'm getting reversaled constantly off these. I have to like try to pick my spots better and like
Yeah.
just wait in certain spots where I know I'm too late and try to react from there.
That unironically is like what I'm working on lately. So
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty good friends with Aklo, and we talk about melee a lot.
Hmm.
And one of the things he's telling me is like my biggest thing I can get better at to like really push it is like specifically against fast fallers. Like I struggle right now with like if I get my tech chase or if I get my punish, I will likely kill you, right? And that's like a pretty good strength
Hmm.
that a lot of people kind of struggle with. Um, but there is like a skill in like knowing when to let off the brakes or like knowing like how can I set up this like random hit. So one thing he's pushing me on right now is like I need to be better at like let's say I get a random nair at like 20, let's say on Falco, and like that's not going to lead to
Yeah.
anything really. Like it's just going to knock him over. But you can still kill him off it. So if you're ready for it, kill him, and if you're not, recognize that you're not. So that's kind
Yeah.
of a hard thing for me right now. So it's funny you should mention that.
Yeah. I think especially in the Falco matchup for me, that's where I was noticing that I get a lot like I lose a lot of interactions off of it not being patient enough or
Mhm.
trying to make things work where I already know in the back of my head that I'm kind of too late or that they're gonna be able to act before I can actually punish them.
Yeah, and I think like for what it's worth, just kind of messing around with ideas similar to that lately. Something I've been finding that is like really helpful is just like I don't like saying there's like rules you got to follow in melee a lot of the time. Like I think some things are objectively true no matter how good you play someone, right? Like Marth has uh like good range, right? Like that's never going to change
Yeah.
depending on how someone's good or not, but like knowing when you should or shouldn't do something can change, right? So like
Yeah.
when we talk about like stage control or like keeping a good distance against someone and like keeping an advantage state on them, like when I'm talking to Aklo, like I talk a lot about how like uh one thing that he's telling me like one thing is that Zane's really good at, and you can see it a lot when you watch him play, is that when he's has an advantage on someone, it's really hard for like spacey players in particular to like open them up a little bit, right? Because if you think about like
Yeah.
Marth's options as a character, like in neutral, if both characters are just standing still, like Marth controls the ground with down tilt and dash dance grab. He controls the air with nair and forward air, and he like can just kill you during all of that, which is F smash, right? So it's like there's nothing you a spacey really has if Marth swings at the right time to really like beat that, you know. He just has too
Yeah.
many options. So the idea is that when Zane has an advantageous position, he just kind of does nothing, but like he does it really well in the sense
Hmm.
that he makes himself impossible to hit without giving up too much space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and back in the day, PPMD's Marth really inspired me, and I always felt like
Yeah,
that was something that he was really good at, was baiting, was like pushing his opponent out to the edges of the map and then baiting them into him and punishing their like preemptive
yeah,
moves.
no, for sure, absolutely. And it's like PP. I think more than like Mewtwo King back in the day, he did really push that idea of like Marth can be impossible to hit or get in on, right? Like Armada refuses to
Hmm.
play Peach against him because he just can't get in on PP, and PP keeps pushing him to the corner where Peach will like Peach has like the worst ledge game in the game for the top tiers, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no, you're totally on the money with that. So Zane, I think lately he has like really pushed that with his use of platforms and like anti slide off tech, but
Hmm.
also just how precise he is with his movement and some of the neutral options he picks. Like I still think PP was a really smart player, and I still do, and like he could come back and beat a lot of people, but he has a lot of things he would need to fine tune, right? That I think Zane has.
Yeah.
Like a lot of PP's neutral game doesn't really account for crouch cancel as much as it would in like modern
Yeah.
melee, you know? Um, so kind of with that in mind, like I think when Zane has an advantage, like a really good thing to watch like just in his neutral. I'm not even talking about like the combo game stuff, but like
Mhm.
how much he will just dash dance and wait and bait someone out to do something like a nair, even if the nair doesn't like hit, right? Or he doesn't punish them directly for the nair. What he punishes after, like if they do like a jab or if they do a spot dodge or if they like jump or whatever, like he catches onto those things so quick, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you often hear Fox players talk about that idea a lot more, where it's like, oh, well, you can't punish Marth Nair. Like, it's too fast. So you just got to punish what comes after it, right? Like, that's something Cody would talk about a lot
Yeah,
when
I hear
beating
that.
Marth. But, like, Marth does the exact same thing, if not better, against other characters because he has range and more distance on his dash dance, you know?
Yeah.
So that I think is something that, like, when it comes to hitting the tech chase or making a decision on like when to go in and when not to, like I was trying to say before, we went off a little bit there, but like I don't like saying like you should never do this or you should only do this because it will change depending on the person. But I think there are things you can do always that can make you generally stronger or safer. And a lot of people don't like hearing that when it comes to Marth because it's like, well, if we're being honest, like keeping yourself safe and doing nothing really is defensive. But that doesn't mean you have to use it strictly defensive, right? Like Zane and PP both would clearly use it in a way to put pressure on their opponents, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of perspective there, but yeah. No, I think it's good that you're thinking about those things. I was a little worried because like I know I think it's more of an advanced concept starting out, so I wasn't sure. I left that lesson feeling kind of like, okay, hope that made sense, but it sounds to me like it did pretty well, so I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear.
no, I think I mean, obviously, I still need to work on like my punish games
Mm,
and things and a little bit of my consistency with tech skill. But I think the things that I really need to work on to get to the next level are like kind of those higher or like more advanced concepts that I've kind of have struggled to touch on
mm-hmm.
as much in my gameplay, which was kind of like partly something I did want to coach for.
Yeah, okay, true. All right,
So that was
cool.
good.
Okay, well, with that in mind, how do you want to take things today? Did you want to? So I after like a lesson or two, usually, right? If I'm because like usually how I'll start lessons, just because originally you came into the lesson with a couple ideas of like what you do want to do, what you don't. We talked a lot more so. We didn't like watch you play too much. It was kind of more casual. Um,
Yeah.
so usually how I would do things and when I coach someone new is we'll kind of talk about like matchups, right? So I'll always give them the choice of like usually someone comes in either wanting to talk about a couple matchups or just one specific one, and I like to focus on one specific for a little bit at first. Um,
Mhm.
and then we'll kind of talk about like, okay, this is what Marth wants, this is what Falco wants, for example. And I think I showed that off a little bit. If I didn't, I'll show you real quick. Like, here's what like it doesn't matter if you're playing like an O2 or Falco or like if you're playing Mango or Ginger or whoever, like these kind of things like don't really change against Falco, right? Like
Yeah.
so usually we'll spend like a lesson just talking about this and kind of like developing like what is like a solid game plan, right? So like why do you want to hit a grab? Why do you want to use Nair? And like why are those moves stronger than like other options you might pick generally speaking, right? Like why are these like the strongest tools you have? And why are these the things people are going to be playing around the most because they'll give you the most advantage, right? And like then we'll just talk about it on the flip side. Like what does Falco want? What does Marth want? Or what does Marth not want, right? So we could do
Uh-huh.
that today if you wanted. If you wanted to just talk about Marth and Falco, I mean, I'm happy to do that. I also have probably like a million lessons recorded on my YouTube already of me doing the exact same thing. So if you want to skip this and you'll make the promise to yourself later that you'll watch one, that's totally fine too. I could also link you one. Um, but the other option, what I've been doing lately, and I think people have been enjoying it a lot. I don't know if necessarily it's the most helpful thing, but I've gotten some pretty good feedback on it. And I'm for what it's worth, I also have a session planned like literally after this one, doing exactly what I'm about to say. But it's just
Okay.
watching them play someone. Um,
Yeah.
so like it's kind of just like we're all three of us are at a setup, except I'm not playing, I'm just coaching you, you know. Um, so whether that's in like a public call or a private call, usually I do them just in private calls like we're doing right now. Um, I could just watch you play, or we could talk about another matchup if you want to move on from another matchup for a little bit, or we could watch some more VODs against Falco. We could watch that tournament set you were talking about.
Yeah, I have a few sets from yesterday. I either
Sure.
have there's a set against the Falco, the one that I won against, that was
Yeah.
pretty good, and then there's a set against the Sheik that I think was pretty good
Sure. Yeah.
that I have as well.
Yeah. Let's take a look at both then. Maybe there'll be some crossover. We could talk about the spacing ideas in both of them, like kind of build off what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Because for what it's worth, I think that is one of the biggest things that I would say generally I'm like better than most Marths at the Sheik matchup.
Okay.
Like Sheik matchup is more of a comfort matchup for me than a lot of other ones because I think though it can be really punishing, it's honestly pretty simple on the Marth end of things. And I think a lot of Marths overcomplicate it. So I'm definitely down to talk about that, and I think there's some crossover from like what we talked about like the decision making tree of it. But I think also like the Sheik matchup, you have to be a little bit more disciplined in like what you do and don't go for. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's so punishing, right? But I think you're sending me. I would just guess
Yeah,
you're sending me Falco first.
These are the Sheik ones because I
Sheik ones?
already
Okay.
had them.
Okay.
I can find.
Yeah, let's start with Falco and just kind of like build off what we talked
Okay.
about before, and then we'll go to Sheik because I think it might be easier to do it that way.
Okay, let me find them real quick. Gotta look through these.
Yeah, that's no worries. So do you know what you ended up placing at the tournament the other day?
I went 2-2.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. There's like 39 people. I probably got like 17th.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good then. I would say that definitely like sounds average for like a gold player on Slippy. So especially when you're like I mean, 40 people at a local is like pretty big amount, you know. So you're in a pretty busy
Yeah.
region for Melee. So
Yeah, I got 17th.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
And then there was a redemption bracket that we did after, but it ended up getting held up so that it kind of just like a lot of people just left
Just
from
DQ,
it.
yeah. That's usually how those go. I feel at our local
Yeah.
we do crew battles instead. So we'll do like redemption crew battles, and we change up the teams every week so that it's not boring. But I used to
Yeah.
run even netplay tournaments like back during COVID, and like that's often what I found with like the redemption brackets. It's just people DQ, people leave, like whatever. So kind of
Yeah.
sometimes it can be really really hype. Sometimes it's kind of underwhelming. So we mixed it up with crews at our local.
Oh, Cruise, yeah.
Yeah,
Usually
a lot
we
of
just have been
feedback.
running redemption.
Uh,
Cruise it could maybe be interesting. It just is I don't know. It's like a weird because by the time singles is done, it's already so late. So we try to run redemption like as we get into top 8 of singles.
Yeah, I think for our local, like we start crews at like 8 or 9. I think our local starts at 7 usually. So we limit it to 0-2, 0-2, 1-2, and sometimes 2-2, depending on how fast bracket's
Oh,
going.
cool.
But yeah, it's cool because like we get different teams every week, and people get really excited, and like I don't know, there's just usually like people are cheering more for crews than like the actual bracket itself later on, which is kind of sick. So.
Oh, I can just grab these from Slippy. Okay, that's easier. I didn't know I could just literally drag them from Slippy over to Discord.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Actually, can you
Yeah,
really do
if
that?
you go into your Slippy replays, you can
Oh my
grab
god,
the replay
I
just
didn't know
from
that.
in the replays file. Yeah.
That's game changing, dude. Holy shit. That's
Okay,
sick.
those
Okay.
second ones are the Falcon ones. They should be in order.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'll share screen. Sorry. Cool. Oh, I'm looking at my replays. I was like,
And these ones, I had some other sets as well yesterday, but these ones are the ones that I thought were like pretty close, and I felt like I played pretty solidly in. So that's why I thought these would be
so
better ones to
this
go
is the
over.
set that's are these the games that you made the reverse 3-0?
The Falco one is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Sheik one I lost last stock.
Right. Okay. So are the 3 games you said these are the ones you start making the comeback?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Falco games. The second
So,
ones I sent.
okay, so if you're sending the games you won, why don't you tell me first? Like, why do you think you were losing the first couple games? If we're not
All
going
right. Well,
into.
so I won game one, and then I lost game two on Dreamland, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
won
So this
game
is a
three on
2-1.
Stadium.
Sorry, I thought this was best of
Yeah.
5. Okay, okay,
Oh, no, no. That was from a different
gotcha.
tournament.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So okay,
I thought
this
these
one
ones
went
would be
2-1.
better to go over.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Because the ones, yeah, the other ones were kind of sloppy since I was like kind of drunk when I was playing
Yeah, no,
in the
that's
other
fair.
tournament.
Okay, I'm gonna teach you at a I don't want to say well, it low key is an advanced track because many people aren't doing it right now. But
Okay.
so again, I was talking with Aklo,
Oh
and
shit. Your stream wasn't
he
up. Okay.
was telling me about these like super like stupid tricks that Zane
I
does.
wasn't even on your stream the whole time,
Oh, that's
so I
fine.
didn't see you.
I kind of just skimmed through that first talk because there wasn't like anything too
Okay.
crazy. You guys were kind of just hitting each other to like varying
Yeah.
success. But one thing I want to talk about. So I think we might have talked about this last week. Um, but in my opinion, and there's a Junebug video talking about this, but there is a lot of benefit, I would say, to learning how to protect yourself in the game in general, right? So like when we're talking about the
Don't get hit.
yeah, exactly, literally, right? Like when we're talking about like the neutral thing, like we're talking about how Zane just like he literally just does his whole game plan is just don't get hit, open someone up, and then he kills him for it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a Junebug YouTube video, maybe like 2 years old, I think. It talks about how Melee's most underrated comeback mechanic is invincibility between stocks, and how a lot of people are actually really, really bad at playing with it, and how like brawl players and whoever back in the day were really good at it because they were always just camping each other anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one thing that video talks about is how you use invincibility as a comeback mechanic aggressively, and how you play against it so you like keep your advantage, right? So like right now, for example, you just got a stock, but you're still losing. But you could bring this back, or if you get hit while he's invincible and much faster and controls much faster, your deficit's just going to get even worse, right? So it's really important that you know like how to defend yourself when they're invincible. So I was talking to Aklo about this because typically that is one of Marth's like biggest weaknesses. Is like he is kind of slow in the air, like he's a little floatier than like the fast fallers, or he doesn't have like a float or like a million jumps like Peach and Puff, right? And he doesn't have
to camp it out.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't have a broken ledge dash either, like pretty much everyone, you know? Like so even like Falcon, even though Falcon is fast in the air, like he doesn't like it's not like he has like really amazing defense tools, right? So he just has to be faster than someone or stall somewhere. So Marth really struggles with a lot of this stuff, right? And so we were talking about it, and Zane is doing something new with Marth that it really shouldn't be new. Like I'm sure other people have done it in the 20 years of the game, but like he is spamming it lately. And with Marth in particular, it might be low-key unbeatable, or like at least the strongest option he has. So I want to talk to you about it real quick, just so you start doing it, and you'll be better in between stocks than like anyone right now, because there's only a couple people who are actually doing this in the world. So right now what you're doing between stocks, we're going to talk about defending yourself first before we talk about aggressively between stocks, okay? Right now what you're doing between stocks is you're moving around and you're trying to like outmaneuver Falco, right?
Yeah.
And like that can work, like, right? Like clearly you don't get hit, you survive the invincibility, whatever. But it's not like this guy was like super pressuring you either, right? Like he kind of takes his time with the laser. And my opinion is that at higher levels of the game, that becomes much, much higher, because the Foxes, for example, or just I'm using Fox as an example, but it could literally be any character. Like Fox, Sheik, Falco, Falcon, like they all get more control of their character. They're more precise with them, and they're faster, right? And truth be told, all those characters, when it comes to controlling space, are probably faster than Marth on paper, because Marth can't defend himself with his sword, which is like his main aggressive and defensive mechanic, you know? So Marth really is just sitting out here like a duck. Like if you're just trying to outmaneuver people, like against top tiers, it's honestly really, really hard. So what is a really great strength for Marth? It isn't actually going to the ledge like Mewtwo King days back in the day where people aren't stupid enough to challenge him on the ledge anymore. They'll just wait for him to get up and corner you, and especially if you're at like 60, right? Like you get hit by Fox and Air, you're probably just dead because you get edge guarded after, right?
Yeah.
So what Zane is spamming right now, can you see my mouse right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So Zane will go like not on the very ledge, he'll go like here-ish on a platform, specifically the side platforms. We'll talk about that in a sec, but and he'll light shield in place. And
yeah,
why
I've been doing that for like a year.
That's good, yeah.
Not
so I would do before,
but not all the time. I like try to mix it up.
I would do light shield over here, right? So if I get hit, like let's say on like Yoshi's story, I could fast fall immediately to the platform, right? Or sorry, to the ledge. Yeah,
that's some stuff I've been doing.
This isn't as good though as what Zane's doing, like specifically the positioning of it. Yeah. So the reason why is like, let's say
I guess it pushes you out.
Yeah, it pushes you off the platform, right? So like, let's say I'm playing against Marth in the Ditto.
Yeah.
He hits me with fair while I'm fast falling. He's just gonna F smash and hit me, you know.
Yeah.
You can still maybe fast fall if you're perfect, but I think like the way for like plus on shield works in Melee, right, is like the lower you are and you hit someone on their shield, the more plus you are, right? Like the frame data doesn't matter as much. So like, if Marth waits the absolute latest, hit me with forward air, I think he can hit you with F smash before you can get the fast fall. So anyway. Why the Zane one is so much better is if you get hit here, let's say if like Falco were to drop down and back air you, you slide, sure, but you slide over here. So you slide so much, Falco can't do shine or grab pressure on you when he hits you. He can't grab you because if you grab, like maybe he gets up throw up air, but like the idea is if he grabs you while you're here, you just DI this way and he doesn't really get a good follow up on it, right?
Yeah.
And if he hits you on the left side of your shield, you fall off this way, actionable, and you can fast fall, and then you're in the center of the stage rather than the edge, which is not as good, right? So in any scenario here, as long as you hold your shield, you're good. And if Falco does what he did here, where he plays around you, maybe tries to wait you out and then goes in, you can still shield drop and threaten an aerial attack and counter hit him, you know?
The thing that I've had trouble with sometimes when I do that is it's like falcons or foxes or sheiks. Sometimes they'll go under the platform, and then that can put me in a tricky spot where now they're under me and I have a harder time getting off the platform.
Well, to that I will say, as long as you hold shield, right? Like, oh, I should have left it there. I'm gonna wait and go back there a second. But as long as you hold shield, which you do here after the up tilts, right? Ideally, you're here, right? But point being, if Falco's underneath you and trying to hit you, the light shield means you won't get poked, right? Which is really strong.
Yeah.
Which is a big weakness of Marth, to be clear. But
yeah,
if Falcon hits you with up air, you slide off on his way up. Even on his way down, you slide off here. And as long as you hit the fast fall, you land first and you have better positioning than him. Even if he hits you at the latest possible up air, like let's say like super, super late, he has to jump and kind of float here in the air first anyway in order to be able to do that. So you get to do, like you could just shield drop forward air him first, right? As a call out.
Yeah.
So either way, like that is still better than every, like that mix up at worst that you have is still better than every other possible ledge option or defensive option between Sox and Marth has, right? Because like he can't attack them otherwise. And they have to waste their invincibility to get underneath and do the jump and make sure it's the latest possible. What's to say you couldn't just like jump up here and start light shielding after, or dash dance or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? The point is it wastes so much of their invincibility that it's like you're just keeping yourself safe, and then you can go back to playing. You don't even have to go in immediately, which a lot of people would also struggle with. The second their invincibility is done, you could just do the Zane thing we were talking about earlier and just keep that advantageous position, because really that's what's going to happen to you at the end of it, right? So that is a big thing I would look out for. When it comes to how to use your invincibility when they take a stock against you, we could talk about that another time maybe. But just in that same idea of like keeping a good position, making everything way more difficult for your opponent and still like doing good things, like that's definitely on topic of that. It's just kind of something that stuck out to me, even though it was like one stock. Like things like
I think I use it in this set. I feel like I did it once or twice.
You might, but
see.
it's specifically this like one specific spacing here, not at the very edge,
Yeah.
just like a little bit
Okay.
over.
Yeah, because I think usually I don't have like when I do set it up, it's not like a specific way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say
So I'll
like
try to do it with that way then.
you should honestly spam it. Like it's pretty good. There's some characters where I
Okay.
think it's not as good against, like Jigglypuff maybe, or Falcon is
Yeah.
maybe a little harder. But I think there's other better options for you in those matchups anyway. We could talk about those if we ever like look at VODs with them, right? But Falco, I think
Okay.
this is like broken, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would probably do it against Sheik too, but I haven't played enough Sheiks to see. But I would imagine it's really good also.
Yeah, I'll,
Okay, that
I'll
was
try
really
to
good
think about it
control.
more actively then, because I will use it, but then I don't know. I just like do it, right? I don't really think
Yeah,
about it
no,
as
of course,
much
yeah.
sometimes. Besides it, noticing that of like a sometimes I get scared away from doing it when they'll like sit under me a bit sometimes. Usually it works out pretty well though, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a good edge guard. I will say for this edge guard that you missed here.
Uh-huh.
Again, I'm not to harp on you. This is something I'm also working on. So this forward air you go for, right? It's not the worst
Yeah.
because you're at like 87.
I definitely
so...
did not expect that air dodge. That was like, yeah.
Well, the idea here, right, is like, let's say you get the down tilt off the forward throw. Falco still has options here, right? Like if you go for
Yeah.
like the run off forward air here, what's stopping him from doing like double jump back, really, right? Like it's not like you did like full drift forward
Uh-huh.
on this double jump. I can tell you did
Yeah.
it with probably just the gray stick, just because of how you drift here. But he could double jump back. He could keep shine stalling. He could like shine stall down air. He probably would die for it, so this isn't as much of an option, which is why I don't mind it as much. You clearly have a lead. But like, let's say you were at 0 here. This is pretty hard to deal with, right? So anyway, one thing I think Marth players do have this, and like I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna act like I'm a saint, but a big thing Marth players have like a bad problem with, Marth in particular, is every time a Spacey's off dead, they think they can kill them, you know? And sometimes it's just not
Yeah.
true, you know? Like at the end of the day, like this isn't 2013 anymore. Like the game is evolved enough where better, even worse players are just like more aware of like common options to beat like down throw down tilt, for example, or like just how not to get gimped, right? Like Ginger, for example, has made so many videos on like there's like a really good video he made on like Falco versus Sheik and how like the back throw gimp, like when Sheik just back throws you off stage, is like actually so fake, and like there's a million things you can do to get out of it. And so things like that, like he's talking about like you could shine stall, you could double jump this way, you could double jump that way, you could air dodge, you could go for immediate down air, you could change your DI. Like there's just too many variables, right? And I think Marth players struggle with that idea because I do think Marth has the ability to cover everything with a hard read, but he has to make a hard read to cover everything, right? And most players at the ledge, they're just going for a quick kill and like it won't work, right? Kind of like what you did here. So all this to say, I follow like a simple rule lately that does make it a lot easier. And I think I don't know if Zane follows this rule so to like the T or whatever, but I think he does like exemplify it a lot of the time when he plays. Is that I would argue like, so Zane does this thing, and to be fair, I don't know if he invented it, but I'm pretty sure like he's the one at least that like put it into common play at top level a lot of the time, where he will like, do you know what I mean? Where like I say like he just tracks their fall with forward air, and like no matter what he does, they do, he'll just kill them. Like if they side B, he just swings in conjunction with them, or if they up B, he just like double jumps outward and hits them. That edge guard is pretty guaranteed, honestly. Like it beats shorten, it beats a lot of different things, but it's only guaranteed if they don't have a jump, right? So if you jump out off stage against Fox and Falco, like when they have a jump, because they fall faster, and like Fox and Falco also have different double jump heights compared to Marth, it can make things really tricky, right? So I think a good rule just to keep yourself safe, and like again, you can go make a hard read. Like Marth does have the tools for this, But I would say, like, if you haven't forced Fox and Falco yet to use their double jump, you shouldn't go off stage, right? So, like, until you see this
Okay.
guy go for, like, sweet spot double jump, maybe then the run off fair specifically would work. But this double jump one just kind of loses to almost, like, anything he does, right? Like, because even here, he's able to barely make it past you. But, like, that's the game. And now he could have crouch canceled or ASDI down here and maybe down smash you and killed you, right? Like, there's a real chance of that. Or even just like shine, or he makes it back. So I would say definitely like be a little bit more aware of like, okay, if they have a double jump, maybe don't go off stage. Like a jab here would have covered this perfectly. You know, you do a single or double jab and you cover the air dodge with a regrab, and like he's just dead here. You know, but I don't think better Falcos get hit by that little reversal there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's still like you got the follow up good. So I can't really like I said, I don't want to like harp on you for it all, you know?
No, I know what you're saying though, because it's like, you know, it's an option that worked against this player, but against better players, it might not work. So
yeah, and I mostly just think you can do something better
players.
Against both of them, like this player and the better players, you know?
Yeah.
So just something to be aware of. So okay, let's pay attention to your neutral on this game because it's a bigger stage and it's their counter pick, right? And this is also
So I usually have been banning Dreamland, but then we were talking about the unreactable stuff, and I was like, you know what, let me try banning Yoshi's because I want to try it out with the space. But then thinking about it too, I was like, oh, this player, he's been using the top platform a lot against me in the Battlefield game, and like he's like kind of fast with it. But I was like, okay, I'll just try to keep that in mind and you know, try to space away enough where I'm not like getting hit from him when he's up there and just like stay to the ground.
Okay, sure. I'll also say to that, a lot of people do get caught up by the top platform quite a bit on just like any stage with Marth. But I think what people kind of fail to realize a lot of the time in the moment, maybe if they're like doing their VOD analysis or whatever, and they're like, ah, shit, I totally could have won this. But what a lot of people struggle with at the moment, and it sounds weird, but Marth isn't really good at swinging at people on the platforms nowadays, you know? Back in the day before shield dropping, he was like so broken at it, right? Because like, how do you get down against Marth, right? But now people are too good at shield dropping and their platform movements like way too cracked and whatever. But Marth still deals with the platforms perfectly fine. It's just he would ideally, like, right, same way we were talking about the Zane thing where he has center stage and advantage. He just keeps moving. Like, they can't hit you from up there, you know? Even if you're losing, you can go on the side plat and maybe try and safely swing at them from the side. But eventually they're either going to corner themselves or they go land back on stage and you just go back to playing like advantage neutral, right?
Yeah.
So I think the play to go Dreamland here is a good call. I think the play to go Dreamland here is a good call, but as far as the top platform, that shouldn't really like, and I get it being a concern. I'm just saying if you get flustered by it, you need to remember that it's not really a problem for you. You just need to like think about what are they doing on it or off of it, you know?
Okay.
So, okay, this is mostly what I'm talking about here in this neutral spot, right? So you're not in necessarily an advantageous spot. Like he has more stage control than you here.
Yeah.
But you're just kind of dash dancing, not really doing too much. You go for the grab, but like you get here after the power shield. You miss this grab, right? This is neutral, unreactable range like we were talking about the other day. You can't react to him jumping up here. You don't know if he's going to jump or roll or laser or what, right? But this dash back grab, you can react to him near the end of it, right? We talked about the other day where it's like the instants in those ranges aren't reactable, but what happens after is. And if Marth is so broken because he has such a long dash back that his legs, the way they like move with it, make him so hard to hit. Like, look how instant out of there. You were here a second ago, and now your head's all the way here. It's just the back of your foot now that's still there. This makes you like so difficult to hit, right? And like you still totally can play in that unreactable range and like rip a dash attack. You could run through him. You could nair in place. But But this is what Zane's really, really good at, right? Is he just kind of stays and does nothing for so long until someone does something stupid like this down air. And he can punish you on reaction, but he's also really good at just playing the unreactable mix-up on top of it also, you know?
Yeah.
And most Marths, I would say, are really good, probably. Like, not even probably, they are. Most Marths are really good at hitting the dash back grab because it's so strong because they get a grab off it, right? But so many of them suck in the scrap and they don't know why. And then, like, this is why, you know, because they don't think about the playing the player so much here in that spot, right? Where they're just always trying to get safe. But eventually they just keep dashing back that they corner themselves. And they don't try and reposition enough, right? And that's a really big problem against Falco.
That's something I was trying to be a little cognizant of as well. Well, for one, like putting myself in the corner, but then and trying to use as much space as I can, and like it, but then also using nairs and stuff to try to give myself some more room or like hold my spots a little. But that I haven't like implemented it too much, I don't think.
Well, I'd say you're doing it pretty good. Like what we talked about last time, right, is like the biggest thing you need to get comfortable doing against Falco isn't trying to just mindlessly scrap with him. It's understand why he can't react in some spots. And if you're in a bad spot, you need to reposition so that you can keep playing that spot over and over, right?
Yeah.
And so far, this stock, you're doing pretty good at repositioning, right? Like, you're going in, but like even things like this, right? Like, this is a prime example of what I was talking about, like, beginning of this lesson, where it's like Zane just kind of sits and does nothing, but like he catches the stupid thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't need to go up when Falco's on a side plat, like on a tall one, especially on Dreamland, or like the top plat, right? You don't need to jump up and hit them. It's honestly not that good because you'll just get shield drop back air or something, you know, or they get away because you have to land now. This is better, and like you got like the good hit out of it. He got some stupid invincible shine, but point being, it's not like he like meant to hit that, you know. That's just one of those things that happen.
Me fucking up punishes and stuff.
Yeah, but like otherwise, you got it pretty solid there, right? Here, just mess up your recovery. Honestly, like it doesn't have to be deeper than that. You definitely could have made this on stage. It's tough, but you could have, you know. And you ripped that a little too early, so yeah, okay. Here you should just be dead. Yep. Okay. So
so there I go to the side plat. Yeah.
And this is like really good. So you're doing like an okay light shield. I can tell you're clearly doing it with a trigger. Little tip, you can do it whichever way you prefer. But the way I light shield, when I'm wave landing on the platform, I'll start holding Z. And that way I get the max light shield value. And it's bufferable, right? So you can just hold Z and like position your hand to like be instant with an aerial if you want a shield drop, maybe, instead of like holding it on the trigger. It's pretty nice that way if you want. I would recommend it, but do you? It's comfort at the end of the day. But you get a bigger light shield, so I think it's pretty good. Okay, so here, right, the down throw thing we talked about.
That up.
You fuck it up, but like this is what I'm talking about, right? Like when you get the down throw, what I think a lot of Marths are so bad at, right, is like they get this down throw, they are immediate turning around down tilting, right? Because it's like that's what they're so used to at the silver and bronze and whatever range, right? Because it's so hard to beat. And some people at the gold range, well, they play the mix up of like, I'm not going to do an immediate down tilt. I'm actually just going to F smash here because it reaches at a different spacing. And so now I'm just always going to play a 50-50 of like down tilt and F smash. And like, sure, you can play that. But I still don't think, like if you whiff that F smash and they just shine stall and they double jump up and get a combo on you, they'll kill you, right? Like better players will. So the better Marth here, what they do, there is still a 50-50 here, and it's up to you to decide how you want to deal with it. But the 50-50, once you get the turnaround, is do I think they're going to go for an immediate double jump to ledge, like where they're above the stage? Okay, if I do, then I can down tilt them, right? And get the scrubby down throw down tilt. Do I think they're going to shine stall and get the double jump sweet spot and grab the ledge? Okay, if I do, I could go off for like a run off fair or something But if I'm wrong on that, I die at 0 because they get a big reversal on me. You know, I'm off stage.
Yeah.
I have to use my jump. The only other thing you have to cover here, so those are the ledge options, right? The only other thing you have to cover here is this double jump back, which I feel like if you're like ready for this is so easy to cover, you know? You can just do it fair in place. You can double jab. You can down tilt, F smash. Like some people will just down throw and they'll like dash back here and wait for someone to do something stupid, right?
Yeah.
But here,
I think I was just kind of late reacting because I think I wanted to run off in fair.
Yeah,
but
I think so
I was
too.
so late.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is like more often than not, I would say just down throwing, doing nothing is better than all this other stuff you could go for, right? Because this only loses to that double jump immediate, or sorry, the sweet spot thing. It beats everything else. And if they do start sweet spotting, then you can go off and do the fair and represent it, right? But I think so many marts just go for this immediate gimp right off the bat, and it's like that only covers one option, you know? And like, don't get me wrong, you'll kill them. But
I noticed before that he was doing that jump back and then he would up B there. So I think I actually was going off because I saw the double jump and then I thought he would up B, but then he side B'd. So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's like, we did talk about it too, where he did the up B, or he did the air dodge on Battlefield, remember?
Yeah.
And it's like,
in like a similar position.
Yeah, standing around, just standing there covers both of those things, you know? So that's a big thing you could change just to like get some, because like grabbing that spot is so broken, right? Like if you can convert off it. So just trying to make sure that you can convert off it, right?
Yeah, just get those edge guards as much as I can.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I said we'll talk about invincibility. We'll talk about it a little bit real quick because I do want to watch those sheik games pretty quick if we can. So invincibility, I follow a rule. And I think this is one of the times I think it's actually okay to follow a rule in the game. My rule is I either want stage positioning when I'm invincible or I want to hit them, right? And if I want to hit them, I want to hit them with the strongest thing I can, which if I'm at low percent is grab. If it's something else, it's just anything that's going to put them off stage, right? So the way I play invincibility is very similar to how I play neutral, where it's I want to stay in a good position regardless of what I go for, right? So I would say on any given stage, you have a limit, and it changes, of how far from the center to like the edge that you're able to run. Do you know what I mean? And swing while still invincible and not give up any space, right? So like Yoshi's story, almost the entire stage, right? You can like get it down tilt and still be invincible. Dreamland, you probably get to go to like here and make a swing, and that's the end of your invincibility. So my rule is if you're going to swing, stay within that box. And if you're not, just keep dash dancing in center, keep them out in a bad spot. And that's fine, right? So here, when you're invincible, you get your double jumps up air swing, and that's it. Anything you do after that swing is not going to be invincible now, right?
Yeah.
Because your invincible's over the second you jumped back up here, right? Like he could hit you now.
Yeah.
So that's the rule. You get one swing, and if you do the swing,
and
do
then
it in
just
the box.
hold my position.
Yeah, and if you don't swing, even still hold the position. You know, don't put yourself in. No one wants to put themselves in the corner off their invincibility, right?
Yeah.
So that is something to be really, really careful of. Invincibility is a big thing when you play it, and it's good because you can practice it against everyone. And it's still interactive, right? Like you still got to do player to player stuff with the light shield thing, or like how you decide to hit them.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so for the rest of this Falco set, I've kind of yapped just a lot about like important things, I think, but like things you can do to do better that revolve around your positioning and just getting better kills or not getting killed.
I think this has been good. We don't really have to watch the rest.
Well, I was going to say, do you want to talk about anything that has been going through your mind while we've been talking about it, or just watching or playing from the other day? Or do you want to move on? Because I'm happy to keep watching this.
Yeah, I think this was good. And then I think I can kind of see how I ended up, like, we were even in this, and then I end up losing it. I think I just kind of start to get antsy and try to go in a little bit too much and, like, push positions, and it ends up going south for me from there. And then the last game isn't really too interesting, the stadium one.
Okay.
I just kind of he keeps running into me, and I just get really good punishes and kill him for it, pretty much. And
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
mean,
okay,
take it, right? Like, who cares? So
yeah,
yeah, that's totally fair. I will say this. So here, right? Where is it? No, right before this. Yeah, he puts himself off stage. This isn't exactly a down throw. You get the nair, sorry. No, he puts himself off. You get a nair here. He's off stage. Exact same thing, right? You go for immediate like wave dash down tilt to gimp him here. You can just react, right? If the rule we said earlier, right? Not you have
what
to
do you
follow
think
it every
is good to
time.
do there? Like jab or neutral B or
So this is what I think is good, right? Is like when I get a move that's going to put them off stage, right? Whether it be a throw, a straight hit, an F smash, like whatever, right? The way I'm looking at this situation is, does Falco have a jump when I hit him here, right? Like if let's say I caught him like double jumping down on me with down air and I hit him with like up
yeah,
air, right? And then I nair him off after it. If I know Falco doesn't have a jump here, I'll jump off and just try and match his height, right? But where this
yeah,
is just like a stray normal hit, the main thing I'm looking for here is the immediate action out of it, right? So like if you're playing like widescreen Slippy, this is much easier to see, right? Because you don't have these black bars. Otherwise, you're trying to look here as much as possible, or you're reacting to the magnifying glass here with the animation.
yeah,
That's how you otherwise do it. And I'm just looking right away for immediate side B out of this, because like he could side B right now while you're doing this wave dash
yeah.
input and catch you for it. So I'm probably going to look for jab for the most part, because I want to cover him coming back on stage and reversaling me more than anything. And like I said before, this isn't 2013 anymore. Marth isn't just going to kill Falco or Fox off every hit. If he does get the perfect side B and I'm not able to cover it in time, even with a read, that's okay, as long as I'm not like hard committing to like something like a runoff fair or whatever at the ledge and he gets like a ledge dash right away and I've just put this amazing nair in my position into like a winning position for him, you know? So that is why this standing jab is better. So I don't want to tell you necessarily you could go for a jab if you think they're going to be here. Go for a down tilt if you think they're going to be here. Like you have options, right? Like an F smash would cover all this shit, right? If we're being honest, like it would. That's Marth being stupid, but like it's the truth. What you're looking for here is the immediate reversal or anything that he can do out of it, right? So for him, it's going to be this immediate double jump up side B, which you weren't ready for because you weren't looking for it and reacting, right?
Yeah.
And I think the easiest way to be able to cover things like this are with low committal moves or options. So like wave dash,
Yeah.
as low committal as it seems, because he's not there to immediately punish you for the wave dash. If we're being honest, like this is a big weakness of Ice Climbers and Luigi. Like for them to move forward, or for Marth to move forward with a wave dash here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 frames of lag, right?
Yeah.
11, now you're actionable with whatever you're doing, but 10 frames, right? Like that's a lot versus like if I just walk over, there's no lag on that if I want to jab or do whatever, right? And that's what Ice Climbers and Luigi struggle with, because they actually have to go through like lag in order to be able to do like an F smash or a down smash or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So being close to them unironically can be actually pretty good. Anyway, that would be what I'd look for the most out of this, is like the immediate thing that they can do, right? And like I said, for them to like get near the ledge, Marth can either run off fair to get the shine stall double jump to ledge sweet spot, or he can do an immediate down tilt to catch the instant double jump mash. But if he just sits here and does nothing, he can react to and cover everything else, you know? And it's like, even if you let them immediately double jump off on and you don't get the down tilt gimp, you can still dash dance grab them, like for the most part, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, that is a really, really big thing to be on top of. And the other thing I'll say to that, because it happens like immediately right away after, he lands on the platform here. You're antsy to get a hit right after messing up here. You jump on the platform to go and hit him, and he back airs you right out of it, right? So again, not as good nowadays to like swing at spacies when they're on the platform. You could maybe swing with like nair because it has such low lag and the way it hits makes it like difficult for them to actually punish. But like a forward air and a back air, kind of like I was talking about with Falcon earlier, right? Like if you want to do a late safe fair, like the latest possible one, that's how being plus in melee works. You actually have to jump for a little bit and like waste some frames, and that opens them up to be hit. So it's the exact same idea as like the invincibility between stocks things we were talking about earlier. So I'll finish it on that because like the VOD ends here like almost immediately after. We'll take like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't really care if we go over if you're not like super late. I'll just message the person I'm gonna say and just say I'm gonna be a couple minutes late.
Okay.
Because I'm just watching them play anyway, right? So it's not gonna be the end of the world if I just miss a friendly. Few minutes late. Okay. So you want to watch the Sheik ones just casually? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sure. It starts. Let me see.
Starts on Battlefields looking like.
Yeah, it's Battlefield at FD Dreamland, yeah.
So I will say, IMO, this is a bad starting stage against Sheik. Zane agrees for what it's worth. I think this is actually Sheik's second best stage because of the down throw. You got down throwed at 20 and now you're getting platform follow-up already, right? Other stages, I don't think that gets to happen as much, right? But like...
I usually try to go to Fountain.
Yeah. I would go to Fountain or Yoshi's to start. I think your best
Yeah, I went
stages...
to Yoshi's against one other Sheik who was like way better than me at this tournament, and then I got fucked up with and I banned Battlefield instead of Yoshi's, and I was like, maybe I'll just go Battlefield.
I mean, no, that's real. But I do think I try and go the same stages every weekend. So the way I strike, like the stages you want the most when striking, that was a good down there. You want FD or Stadium. Those are your best stages in the entire matchup, right?
Yeah.
Sheik's best stages are Dreamland and Battlefield in that order. So what it comes down to a lot of the time, if you are banning for your good stages and she's banning for hers, is you're either going to have Fountain or Yoshi's to start on. Because I'm always just going to ban Dreamland and Battlefield, right?
Yeah.
Yoshi's is its own like beast, honestly. Like I actually do think you have to play significantly different on Yoshi's from like other stages, but I still think it's good for Marth. We could maybe just talk about Yoshi's if it ever comes up, but I do think that Fountain is just like a better version of the Battlefield in like terms of like what you want to do for the stage. So okay, I think Sheik, honestly, straightforward matchup. So I'm just gonna yap a little bit about things that I think you should be doing that are good, more so than like correcting all your little mistakes on the screen right now. Okay. Because we'll start with that and then we can always take it from there. So I think generally speaking, neutral, similar to that Falco range, you want to be outside of Sheik's tilt ranges, which you did actually really well here. This is actually really good spacing on the dash dance, right? Like you want to be around here away from Sheik, right? And the reason being, if Sheik wants to be able to hit you from a spot like this, kind of like we were talking about Falco with like the unreactable ranges, Sheik either has to hit you here if she thinks you're going to stay here and do whatever. She has to either dash attack or she has to boost grab. Or she could go in the air with an aerial. And obviously Marth has a sword, so like that can work in favor for you, right? But the other two, really strong if she hits them, but super, super committal, and you can get just as much of an opening off them, right? So this is a good distance to be from Sheik. You did that actually really well. I would say other than grab, I think it kind of goes without saying, grab is almost like always the best move you have against most top tiers. The biggest moves you would want to hit are like up air, up tilt, if you can get them. But most of the time, Sheik is grounded. So you kind of can't just do that raw. You actually have to find a way to force Sheik in the air, which means when she's on the ground, the moves that are actually the best are going to be dash dance, down tilt, and grab. But down tilt in particular, I think, is like really, really strong against Sheik. Because if you think about like the edge of a down tilt, like Sheik's biggest weakness as a character against Marth, that was brutal. We'll talk.
I just went for it there.
Yeah, I mean that's like that happens. You know, I'm not gonna harp on you for the games, right? I'm just kind of watching what you're not doing and telling you what you should do, right? So Sheik, her biggest weakness against Marth in general, and this is a perfect stage actually to talk about it. That was a crazy F smash. That was good. So if you get a grab on Sheik at like this on this stage, right? You're gonna up throw her, right?
Yeah.
Up throw her once it starts connecting off the ship. But like point being, Sheik's big weakness, and you can see it when she'll jump at you here in a minute, or if she gets to attack. But she doesn't go really anywhere when she double jumps in the air, right? And that's why she like stay really grounded. Do you know what I mean by that? Like this was her full momentum.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of tilt or like drift off the double jump.
Exactly. She has like no horizontal drift. Watch her needle here. She goes for needle. She goes almost nowhere with this, right? Where I feel like Marth could probably go half the whole stage. Like actually, you know.
Yeah. And the needles like stop them from moving.
Yeah. But point being, like when she does this double jump here, right? Like she is drifting a pretty decent amount. It's just Sheik, so she doesn't go like really far, but she's drifting to the left here.
Yeah, and then I just messed up the fair. Yeah.
You messed up there, right? But my point being, why the drift is such a big deal, it makes getting away from up air so bad, and that's what PP was really good at doing, was just juggling and keeping her in the air above him. And that forces Sheik out, because if she tries to like keep drifting in, Marth just keeps up airing her, and then she gets put off stage, and then she has a really, really bad edge guard, and then she's dead, right? So down tilt's really good on the ground because it forces Sheik to jump, which she kind of sucks at, you know? So down tilt actually is your best move in this matchup. Like if we're talking about most effective for like everything, down tilt's actually your best move in this matchup. But down tilt's a hard move because it's not like it's going to kill. It's not like it combos. You just have to
like,
know
I
how
got
to
a good
use
one
it.
there.
Yeah, pretty good, yeah.
Sometimes I have a hard time spacing it, and then I get like dash attacked and stuff because they'll wait.
Yeah, that is a hard thing to deal with. I'm not going to lie. Like that never gets easy. But it's just something you got to do, you know?
Yeah.
And like J-Mook abuses the shit out of that because he's just a monster of crouch cancel. So like Zane will like down tilt J-Mook at like 180. It's barely off, and he'll still die for it, you know, because he'll get CC grabbed. There's a set at Collision like 2 years ago where that happened, and I like screamed. I was like so mad for Zane. But yeah, so I think this is a good stage to practice against Sheik. One, because it's your best counterpick stage, but two, I think the extremes of like what is good for Marth and what is bad for Sheik is so blown out of proportion here that it is like if you're good at this stage, it's really good. The problem is and also why I think it's a good stage to practice. It's honestly not a bad Sheik stage either. Because she does get so much.
Who I'm playing against is this player Moop, who's Bonfire 10's boyfriend, and Bonfire, she has told Moop to ban it, to ban Stadium and like let them go to FD or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why whenever I play against him, he'll Stadium, and then I'm like,
well, for what it's worth, I beat Bonfire on FD, so I'm pretty confident saying FD is better. But I do get what she's saying also, because Stadium kind of makes... The hard thing with Marth on this stage is sometimes, like, if you're not good at juggling or if you're not consistent against the better Sheiks that will just needle camp you, it can be hard to get a kill on FD, right? Where, like, Stadium makes it a little easier because you do just get easy tippers sometimes with, like, the platforms.
Yeah, sometimes I struggle against the needles, especially on FD.
Yeah, needles are fake, honestly. Like, they are their own minigame. They're still good, but, like, Marth can deal with them the same way he can deal with Falco Laser, right? They're, like, they are very, very dealable with. They're easier to deal with than Falco Laser, but they do require... They're a huge, huge knowledge check, if I'm being honest. And FD, I think, is the biggest one, because you just get to auto camp with Sheik. But if you're good at dealing with that, you can't, and then... Like, do you know what I mean by, like, think of it like Peach Turnip, right? Or, like, Dr. Mario Pill. Like, they can't really camp for turnips or throw pills in the corner because you're just going to hit them.
Yeah.
They have nowhere to, like, move away if you play around it. Sheik Needle is very similar to that, but it's, like, there's, like, an extra step involved with that one. But we'll talk about that another time.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I would say, generally, you're keeping a good distance. What I'm seeing the most when I'm watching you play just now, you jump a lot.
Yeah.
And that is a big like problem against Sheik. I don't want to say it's like a no or whatever, but like it can make things like really hard, because like Sheik, the way I think air to air works against Sheik, and I would say, like, I've stole this from like Kadorn and PP guides back in the day, but like sheik wins the air to air if she swings first. And that's just always going to work because her hitboxes are a little faster. They're a little bigger in some spots. Like if we're going like forward air to forward air, Marth forward air, like the spot where sheik forward air starts and the strength it has versus like Marth's, or versus sheik's. I don't remember who I said first, but like she'll just win the trade, right? That's the idea because it's way stronger. It's just as fast, if not faster. And like it has just as much range effectively, you know? But Marth would win the air-to-air if you swing second or if you call sheik out on doing a late aerial. So it's not to say that jumping against her is bad. It's just not going to... You don't want it to be your primary thing, you know? Good ground play is what you want the most against sheik because it makes it so much harder for her because then she has to be in the air and she doesn't like that, you know?
Okay.
But she doesn't mind it if you do it lazy because then she will win it if you guys are scrapping, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'll say, so main takeaways from this, right? Use down tilt a lot. Dash dance at a range similar to the falco thing that we talked about, so we'll build off that. And when it comes to edge guarding sheik, you can keep it stupid simple. Marth actually has really good edge guards against sheik. If she's anywhere far away from the ledge, you time a neutral get up so that you do the neutral get up in line with her poof, so that it'll cover it. And you can practice that in Uncle Punch. It's really easy. The only other time you don't want to do a neutral get up is if she's going to double jump close to the ledge. Do you know what I mean by like a double poof?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what it looks like, so I'm just going to say it just for the VOD's sake. But like when she starts her up B here, but then kind of like lands on the stage and then poofs, she gets the double poof, then you want to roll. So even when she's up high
I like
this,
default to rolling usually.
Yeah, I did too for years, for what it's worth. I don't blame you. And the roll is easier to hit that one on, right? Yeah. But neutral get up covers this also. And there's like no mix up really for it, for sheik. Like you just, it's just a timing thing.
Yeah.
So I would say
try to work on that.
Spam neutral get up, but be aware that roll covers the rest of it for the double poof specifically. Otherwise, you can just go hit sheik like you kind of went for on the first game. But there's more risk involved with that. And kind of like how I was talking about with Falco, where like you can cover anything. Marth can cover anything with an edge guard, but you gotta weigh your risk reward, right? And like my opinion, neutral get up, really, really good spot for Marth because you still have sheik in the corner, or you just kill her, you know? And most Marths, I would say, like, sheik hits harder than Marth on average, you know? But Marth probably could have higher peaks on hitting sheik. So my whole thing is, like, you want to get hit by sheik as the least amount as you possibly can. But you can get, like, if you're good with that, with your neutral, you can get really, really great stuff against sheik. And, like, this game was close, too. You literally could have won this just with, like, a couple small differences. Not even talking about, like, the neutral stuff, right? Like, you get one or two, like, neutral interactions going your way. Last thing I'll say, this isn't, like, super important right now, but if you find yourself, like, sheik's just spamming forward air at ledge like this, like they all do, it's hard. You can either do forward air at ledge like you did here and kind of chase her away, or you could do, like, the baby wave land and land right here and then run straight through her. And that's, again, when you do it like this, hold on, like this is an unreactable range, right? So she doesn't know if you're going to run through, if you're going to swing here because of the distance between the two of you. So small tip, because a lot of people will scrap with sheik, and again, sheik wins the scrap. So you're just dead here now, you know?
Yeah.
That's like my super 5 to 10 minute intro basic on sheik. But I think it is a very, like, fine and tournament playable matchup for Marth. It's just there's a lot of, like, chump checks in it. And that makes it hard for some people.
I've gotten better at it the last year or two because I used to really get frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, it's for when I used to live in Atlantic Canada. I didn't always live in Toronto. So that's like a 13-hour drive. So in my region, I really just had, like, Inky to play against. And that was, like, kind of it, you know? Or, like, all the players in my, like, province, they only played sheik or falco. So, like, those are the matchups I'm more comfortable in. We didn't have, like, Marths or Falcons or Fox or, like, anything. It was brutal.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, I'm like really comfortable against sheik. But yeah, I'll leave it there for those two. I'm sure there's, like, a lot we went over you want to, like, take a look back on. Just before I
Yeah,
let you
cool.
go, is there any like questions or thoughts that you may have or anything like that?
Um,
And it's okay if you don't. Like I said, you can message me whenever, but just for the recording
yeah.
sake.
There was there's this situation against Falcons where I'll be on the ledge and they'll just stand there and spam back air in place, and I don't know what to do against that.
Yeah. That one I specifically call the asshole back air. I'm not even joking. I specifically have called it that for years. And it is really hard to deal with. The answer, we could talk about it in another one that it might take a little bit longer to explain because I do have to run. But the answer to
Okay.
it, just where I'll show you it real quick. It's where are my notes? It's one of like my first notes I ever made, like 2 years ago or something. Um, so I made this like screenshots of like how Marth gets off the ledge, right? And the main idea is like this is the most you can be invincibly and hit furthest into the stage, right? So all this stage you
Oh,
get protected
okay.
by the sword. And you can do it with up air or like a forward air like this. Like you can space for tipper, right? Which ideally you want to do.
Yeah.
But the idea is you get to control all this space with your sword. Falcon can't back air in this space, right? As long as you're
Mhm.
spacing for tipper, which can be hard because the back air has some disjoint on it, right? So I would say if you're going to try and challenge the back air, try and do it where he's going into you, not when he's like back airing away. Because back airing
Yeah.
away actually just makes that more disjointed for him. If you think about it, he's moving further away, but the hitbox is still there.
Yeah.
So the mix-up is you either do a forward air or you do immediate ledge dash down, so you have space to like run through him or
Yeah.
do a nair F smash or something. Or the super degen option that does actually kind of work, just because he has to do a landing back air a lot of the time, is you just double jump counter, which like not as good as the other two, but like it's an option, so it's worth
Oh.
mentioning.
Okay.
Because it will catch people off guard. Honestly, it keeps them. I find it keeps them more honest a lot of the time than like just doing forward air for like a
Mhm.
minute at a time. But yeah, that's the TLDR how you beat it.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
okay, cool. I'm gonna upload this. I gotta run. I'm running late.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts between now and whenever we talk next, let me know. I think next time it would probably be good if I could watch you play someone live. So if you wanted to like schedule a time playing with someone from Melee Online or maybe your region, that would be ideal. But if you don't,
Okay.
if you want to just talk more about other matchups, that's totally fine too. I'm happy to keep doing things as we are now. Um, Let me know what you prefer, but I'm gonna run. It's nice talking to you.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
All right, peace.
Thanks.